We're just gonna wait a minute here, let everyone come in. Welcome, welcome. Day 2 of the Mastering Emotion Challenge. This one, guys, is the gold. I'm excited to have you here. All right, we're gonna give it one more minute. Okay, here we go. Good. So, welcome everyone. Glad you're here for day 2. I know this time is not the best for all of you. So those of you who are here, wonderful. Those of you who are catching the replay, awesome. There's no FOMO here, right? Of course, I love to have you live, but if you catch the replay, it's just as valuable. So welcome to all of you near and far. Yesterday, we started off by doing kind of a basic rundown of the challenge, how it's going to be working, and then started with an introduction to emotion. And I want to let you all know today is like where it really gets good and we really get rolling. So we're going to do a little recap in case you didn't see yesterday and then dive in. So yesterday, we were focused on what is emotion, why does it matter, and what power does it hold in our lives. So we talked a little bit about recognizing different kinds of emotions, naming them, what they feel like physically in our body, how there's a difference between different emotions. Some feel like heavier, more contracting, shutting us down, right? Other ones feel more expansive, light, energizing. And we tend to label those as bad and good. Things to avoid, things to chase after, right? And I didn't share this with you last time, but I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick screen share. And this is not the slide I want. I want, this one. Okay. I love this image. It's not my own. In fact, I'm not even sure where it originated from. One of my coaches used it in some of my training. And I think it's such a beautiful way to think about emotion and how they're all interconnected. We played with that a little bit yesterday, how fear and excitement actually feel very similar in the body. It's just kind of where we experience them and to what they feel like, right? It's like middle C and going up an octave. They're both a C on the piano or other instrument, right? But one's higher, one's a little bit lower. And so this scale kind of shows you how all of our emotions are interconnected and how we can move from one into the other and move from lower states into higher states of emotion. So I thought that was kind of fun. One that is a really common transition is shame feels terrible, right? It's one of the worst emotions we can feel. So what do a lot of people jump to when they are feeling shame? Blame. Because blame sure doesn't feel great, but it feels a whole heck of a lot better than shame. So that's one thing that I love to pay attention to in my own life is when I'm walking around and I feel like other people are trying to blame me, I can recognize, oh, they're probably experiencing some version of shame. And that's why all the blame is coming out, right? Doesn't mean it's nice to still receive blame, but it makes it easier to understand where it's coming from and to start to separate ourselves from what people say about us and what we choose to believe about ourselves in return. And that is a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. To get started with that, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing real quick. So we talked a little bit at the end of the day how emotions are a lot, you can think of them like a cloud, right? There's us in our existence, and then an emotion happens, right? And it's kind of like this cloud we can experience around us. And some clouds are white and fluffy and fun and happy, and other emotions are dark and gray and storm clouds and frightening and menacing, right? And learning how to deal with these clouds as they come up in our lives is a super, super powerful tool, because emotions are what drive the action in our lives or inaction, right? So if you have a goal you want to achieve, if you have just an experience of how you want to live your life, loving your spouse more, being closer to the people who matter to you, your children, showing up better at work, whatever it is, emotion is key to that experience. So I like using this cloud analogy, and we often think about it like this. Okay. So here's us. And here's an emotion. Some of them are fluffy. Some of them are rain clouds. Okay. Now, this is the ideal, right? There's us, and whatever the weather comes along, we get, here. Sorry, I'm cutting off my head there. This is my first time using the whiteboard setup, so I'm still trying to figure it out the best. Okay, so we have two different sets here. What a lot of us, though, experience is something that looks a little bit more like this. We have all these clouds completely intertwined with us. They're all over the place, right? And it becomes really hard to distinguish what is me and what is my emotion. This was huge for me when I was going through one of my bouts of depression, right? It's really common anytime you experience an emotion for a long period of time, which can happen for a variety of reasons, that we start to identify with that emotion and say, I am my emotion. And when we believe that we are emotions, what it feels like is, I'm going to do this in another color. I have no control over my emotions. Right? And this thought can be added on by, for example, the second time I had serious depression was postpartum depression, right? So there was this biological reason. I had had this traumatic, life-threatening experience afterwards. There was a lot biologically going on that was contributing to the emotions I was feeling. And it can really add to this story of, I have no control over my emotions, right? This is just who I am, this mess, right? Now here's the opposite experience that can happen. We go, this is terrible. I don't want to experience this. So here's what I'm going to do instead. Here's me, and here's all my emotions. And I'm going to do whatever I can to say, stay away from me. You belong over there. I'm over here. I'm not getting mixed up in you, right? And the way we create this wall and block ourselves from that emotion varies. One of the common ways is to simply bury it, avoid it, get rid of it, right? And we do this commonly through buffering. Buffering, if you're not familiar, is any way we try to avoid feeling an emotion, right? So that can be scrolling on social media. That can be binge watching on Netflix. That can be shopping. That can be overeating. That can be over drinking. That can be over sext. I was going to say sexing, but that didn't quite flow out, right? Pornography, drugs, any kind of addiction, right? Have this root in avoiding feeling an emotion. And usually we get here because either that emotion specifically is a big, ugly rain cloud, right? Super big, terrible one. We don't want to deal with it. So we're avoiding that emotion specifically. Or we don't like this feeling. Emotion just in general is too much and we're not quite sure how to handle it. So we just are going to push it away. Here's the thing. Whether you have one brain cloud or a whole bunch that you're trying to avoid, you cannot push away one emotion without pushing away all of them. So you get rid of this rain cloud, you're also getting rid of love, joy, fun, excitement, enthusiasm, right? This is why we become very disconnected from our own feelings, right? Now, either of these emotions, oh wait, so this one is I am not my emotions. And we're focused on I am controlling my emotions. Now, we're going to talk about this one in a work setting specifically because there's a really good example here. Professional settings often do not have a lot of space for emotion, right? Because you can't be losing it, uncontrollably crying, right? When you need to be showing up, performing, making decisions, helping the client, closing deals, right? Those emotions tend to get in the way of our ability to do those things if they're played out in those extremes, right? So we tend to say there are certain spaces or times where I can feel emotion and certain times when I can't. Now going back to our rain cloud example though, if we're creating the setting, the idea that in our business environments, emotions are essentially not welcome, it's not a good place for them, right? We're putting up this wall, right? And remember, you can't selectively put up a wall and just be like, hey, this one of like anger and feeling worthless and frustrated, we're going to get rid of those, but we want to keep joy and excitement and fun and enthusiasm, right, in our company culture, because that's what we want to be. But we don't want all these negative emotions too. Doesn't work that way. You put the wall up, you block out the ability to do all emotions. And so what happens is you end up with a whole bunch of workers who are constantly lowering the emotion because I need to let in some good one because I'm talking with my coworker and we're having fun, whatever. But then, oh, break's over. I got to get back to work. Wall goes up. Okay. Wall goes up. If I'm trying to connect with a customer, do you think they're going to notice my wall is up? You betcha. Whole nother conversation I have and that I talk about the subtext of our conversations and how our emotions play a role in that, right? So being aware of this concept is huge. Here's another one, parenting, right? I don't want to yell at my kids, right? I want them to feel love and happiness and joy from me, right? So I'm going about my day, staying home with my kids all the time, and I'm starting to feel stressed. I'm starting to get frustrated, but I don't want to be an angry mom. So I start putting that wall up. And what do? I'm on my phone. I'm cleaning just to avoid feeling that emotion, right? Whatever it is, I'm trying to stay away from that emotion so I can stay in control, keep my cool, so that my kids will have this mom who's not yelling, right? But what happens? The wall goes up, I cut off all my emotions. So now my kids also can experience love from me. They can experience connection. They can't experience fun or excitement, right? they're getting nothing from mom. Nothing is almost worse than anger, especially to a kid who has no way to comprehend what is going on. Where's my mom? Right? Emotion is how we connect, is how we bond. And so if you're cutting off your emotion, that's the same as essentially emotional abandonment to your child. And we do this and we call it a good thing because I'm controlling my emotion and I'm healthy and I don't want to be, this angry mom. I don't want to be this angry boss. I don't want to be hiding in the bathroom having a meltdown because of all the pressure I'm feeling at work. Right? So what do we do? Right? What do we do? I'm going to flip it now. So I teach a concept that I call the pendulum principle. And the pendulum principle is quite simple. It states that on one side, we have misalignment, discord, let's see how it's, discord, that's like a good way to describe it. And on this side is manufactured success. This is a counterfeit. Imposter. Okay. Here's what I mean by this. This is a concept I actually came up with when I was working with my professional organizing clients. I would go into their homes and here's another way. I'm gonna put that in another color. They were in utter chaos, right? Stuff all over the place. Maybe, it wasn't extreme. Maybe it was just a pantry, just a bedroom, a closet, whatever, right? But they were experiencing some degree and level of chaos, and they were asking me to come in and help them fix it. Here they are in their chaotic experience. And they'd be like, oh, great, I'm so glad Emily's here. She's going to help me fix my life. And I'm going to get over here where I want to be in this Pinterest perfect state, right? I'm going to have all the cute bins and the drawer dividers and the labels and like everything color coordinated. And then I'll be happy and my life will be wonderful, right? The problem comes when I have to kind of burst that bubble, right? I can do this. We can make all of this. There's a purpose for this and a place for it. But at the end of the day, the bins, the labels, that's not what keeps your stuff organized. You are, right? So I can come in, I can do all this, but if you don't maintain it in a couple of days, a week, a month, we're going to be right back experiencing that chaos. Right? And so what I would tell my clients is if that's what you want, that's fine. I'm happy to come back every week, every month and reestablish that order and keep it here. And guess what? There were people who would pay me to do that. But there were other people and they're like, I don't really have the budget for that. Or I kind of want to learn to do this myself, right? And so what I would tell them is this Pinterest perfect, that's not actually the goal. That's manufactured perfection. The goal is here in the middle. And what we need to do, what I'm going to help you do as a professional organizer, is learn how to shorten your swing. Because going from complete and utter chaos to Pinterest perfect takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, right? But going from, a few items on my floor to hanging them up and putting them away in my closet, well, that's not so bad, right? And so as they would learn to narrow and narrow their swing, they would get closer and closer to their goal. This is actually the goal we want. Okay, so this is what I was meaning. Chaos on one end, control on the other. We spend a lot of our time trying to travel this path. It's very linear, right? We think I need to avoid this and work my way towards this, right? Which actually, that's a better way to try. Let me get rid of this one. This side of the pendulum in my life needs to be avoided. This is what I want, right? And it creates this pattern, right, where we're going, what we actually experience is not that, right? We don't just chug along and, oh, this is wonderful, and I'm getting everything I want, and everything's working out in life, right? What we get is like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And it's just like, oh, how am I ever going to get there, right? Why can't I just have enough discipline, enough motivation so that I won't have to deal with that step back, right? We think I can just hustle. If I work harder, I can just go and push my way through, get to the top of that mountain, conquer that goal, right? This is hustle culture, right? And it's not the most effective way, because inevitably there's gonna be that step backwards. And when you are in a linear perspective, that step backwards means I failed, I did something wrong, I messed up, something has gone wrong, right? Maybe wasn't even seemingly in my control, something's just gone wrong, okay? And that becomes a whole new can of worms you have to deal with. Besides the setback is all of the thoughts, all the emotions that you are now having, right? This is when, if we start looking at emotions and including them over here, this is my big angry rain cloud I want to avoid. I'm trying to move away from that over to this state of bliss and happiness in life, right? We're chasing happiness because it feels good, right? This feels terrible. I don't want this in my life. I want more of this. And we get caught up in thinking, if I get the job, if I find the person and marry them, if I have the kids and have the house, right? That I'm moving along this path, ticking off all the boxes, getting closer to more of this and less of this in my life. That's not really how it works, right? And we know this. We just kind of want to deny it, or we learn to cope with it and deal with it. We learn to hustle and run as hard as we can. It's not linear, guys. It's a pendulum. Right? This is actually what we want. 100% happiness in life? It's not as cracked up as you think it would be. Don't believe me? Look at most of the successful people you know. The ones who have achieved it all. And you'll see 2 different categories. You'll have the people who followed this path, ended up here, and they go, I'm not happy, right? They go, I have it all, I should be, and I'm miserable, right? Then you have the people who took the pendulum path, who understand the duality in life, who understand life is 50-50, that some days you have rain clouds and some days it's sunny. You don't get to pick one type of weather, right? We spend a lot of time trying to be weathermen, people who predict the weather, what emotion is going to come next, so I can plan for it, so I can prepare for it, so I can avoid it, right? Or we spend a lot of time being the rainmaker, right? Out there trying to control my emotions and make it rain because that's what I need right now. when it's so much more valuable to learn to dance in the rain. That's the pendulum, okay? The pendulum says, I'm gonna swing a little this way, and a little bit this way, and a little bit this way. And if I can get better and better at narrowing that swing so it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, I'm gonna get closer and closer to my goal. What is this goal? This is freedom. This is success. This is achievement, impact, progress, growth, alignment, authenticity. This is where the magic is. Right? Have you ever heard or experienced, right? You have this idea in your mind of like, I just need to get from here where I am to here in my life, and then everything's going to change. If I can lose the weight, get the job, get the promotion, make more money, marry the person, have the kids, whatever it is, right? Then I'll be happy. It's this perspective. And then you get there and you have the thing you wanted and you realize either I'm not happy or my life isn't perfect. So maybe I was happy, but then nothing has really changed. I feel kind of like the same person. It's because nothing has really changed. Right? You went from one extreme to the other. You got this taste of success, this taste of what you wanted, this taste of the ideal. And that's what made you go, oh, yes, I'm on the right track, right? You get that taste halfway through. But if you don't understand the pendulum principle, you think you're on the right track. You think, yes, going in this direction got me here, which is what I want. So I'm going to keep going in this direction so that I can get more of this. But then you get over here and you go, wait, I didn't get more. I got gypped. What gives? Right? And so then we're like, well, maybe I'll try going this way. And we start going and we get here and we go, oh, yes, I got some. Right? So I'm going to keep doing that. And we get over here and it's like, that didn't work. My life's a mess again. Right? And we do this cycle back and forth, trying to figure out how I can get more of this. And all we're doing is going loop, 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 loop. And it's exhausting. Right? Remember how much time and energy it takes to go from everything is a disaster in my house. The kids have dumped every single toy bin out, mixed them all together, all the books, all the clothes, all the stuff that's too small, the pile of things I was going to get rid of, right? They made kids soup in their bedroom. To get back to this nice state of their clean bedroom, it's a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of work. No wonder we have burnout in our culture. No wonder we are exhausted looking for solutions. Right? When you start to live and understand the pendulum principle, though, you don't go to extremes as often. You seek that center point of balance. Right? We're going to flip it back again. Now, we'll come back to our emotions. Okay? This is the point of balance, right? I exist. I am here. I have emotions around me, but they are not consuming me. They are not me. I'm still connected to them. I'm still feeling them. I am allowing them. This is a state of, instead of I am emotion or I am not emotion, they are. And along with that comes, I allow my emotions. What does it mean to allow an emotion? Okay. Allowing an emotion means usually something pops up and we're like, oh no, there's this emotion here. Quick, grab it, hold on to it. We've got to get rid of it. We've got to move it. This is a problem. We've got to identify it and figure out why it's here and where it's coming from and how long is it going to be here and what's going on, and right? All these questions. And we're like grabbing it there, right? Can that emotion move anywhere? No, it's stuck. We've attached to it, right? You attach to something long enough and you start to think it's part of you, right? That's how we end up over here. Okay. But then the other side is like, okay, I want to grab onto it because that was bad, right? We don't want to attach to it. So instead, oh no, it's popping up. I got to run from it. I got to get away from it. Get out of here. Right? That's how we end up over here. Allowing an emotion as we go, oh, hey, I see that rock. Hello, okay, I guess this is what we're having today. Today, rain clouds popped up. Today, sunny showed up, right? And I'm not gonna let that decide how I'm gonna go about my day, right? I'm not going to cancel it. I'm not gonna hide. I'm not gonna feel bad about myself. I'm not gonna sit there and go, it's raining outside. I'm a terrible person. I have messed up so bad, right? It's like, no, it's just rain. It rains. Sure. Is it a little annoying if I'm going to get wet? Do I need to dress differently for the day? Do I maybe need to leave a little bit earlier for work so that I have extra time with my commute? Yes. But who I am, it's not affected by the rain. Same way it's not affected by the sun, right? Sometimes we get so caught up in the success feeling, right? Look how amazing my kids are. They listen to me. I give them organic homemade food for every meal. Pretty amazing, right? We hold on to that identity. I have the corner office. I'm so awesome, right? And then one day something happens and we can't make them their organic food. We don't have the corner office anymore because COVID hit and now we're working from home. And we're like, crap, who am I? What's going on? Am I a good mom? Am I a bad mom? Am I a good employee? Am I not? Please, somebody tell me who I am and what my importance is. Right? That's being defined by the sunshine, the fluffy clouds in your life. Letting them dictate who you're going to be. Instead of going, oh, it's sunny out today. Cool. I love to play in the sun. I'm going to wear those cute shorts I wanted to, my new sandals, right? Maybe I'm also going to bring some sunscreen because I know I'm going to be in it for a while and I don't want to get burned, right? When you look at emotions similarly to weather, you start to realize how silly it is to define ourselves by them, just as silly as it is to define ourselves by the weather. You also recognize they're neither good nor bad. You talk to two different people and they will tell you rain is the best experience ever. Someone else will say, no, give me all the sun. I want it all, right? Good, bad? No, it's just two different types of weather. And if you look at nature as our model and example, we need both. If you want a plant to grow, it needs both sun and water. Give it too much water, it's going to die. Trust me. I know. Too much water. See how damp that soil is? Yeah. Similarly, give it too much sunshine, sunshine, and it's also going to die, right? It's finding that balance of water and light, allowing space for both of them. Can you go about your day begin to become the observer of your emotions and say, oh, I'm experiencing an emotion right now. Wonder what emotion that is. Okay. I am not this emotion, but I'm also not resisting it. I'm not pushing it away, right? Because that's the thing. What happens over here? We start going, okay, my thoughts are how I have control over my emotion. So I just need to think a different thought and then I'll have a different emotion. Okay? Then we start going, quick, I need to not be thinking this. I need to not be feeling this. I'm resisting this. Like, it's bad that I'm feeling this. If I feel this way, I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be able to show up the way I want to. Right? And now, not only do we have the original emotion, the original rain cloud, but we've come and dumped all these rocks, bricks of anxiety and worry, existentialism, right? Existential crisis. Who am I? So now we have rain clouds and we have rocks and bricks to deal with. It's even worse. Right? Allowing yourself to simply, I was in the doctor's office the other day. They had a really cool ad. It was this like cute little stick figure guy and he's watching traffic, right? And they're saying emotions are just like the cars driving by. Can you sit there and watch them? Oh, anger. Look at that, I'm angry. Oh, happiness. Look at that, I'm excited, right? This is not to say I want you to become a robot, right? There are moments where you're going to say, okay, I'm going to take that emotion and I'm going to put it on, right? So that's going to happen. It's part of the pendulum, right? It's part of this space, this space. Sometimes we're in it. Sometimes we're kind of pushing it away. Sometimes we're full blown yelling or crying or whatever, right? So I'm not saying by becoming the observer of your emotion, you're getting rid of your emotion. In fact, observing is just the first state of being here. When you observe, you say, okay, I have these rain clouds around. I'm going to acknowledge them. I'm going to see them. I'm not going to become them. I'm not going to push them away. Right? But how does the weather change? Did you know you can dissolve your clouds? The way you dissolve them is by feeling them. So that becomes the second step. After you've observed the emotion, that just kind of gets you grounded, present, keeps you from going to one extreme or the other. But then the next step is you have to actually feel it in your body. Feel what that anger feels like. Feel what that sadness feels like. Feel what that joy, excitement, enthusiasm, love feels like, right? That's really hard. To stay present and feel the emotion, all the intensity of it, right? It's a skill. It takes practice. The more you do it, the better you become at it. At first, probably gonna be wanting to be alone while you process it, wanting to take some time to deal with that, right? Because we've been going to two extremes, we've learned and conditioned ourselves. That's the only real way to process emotion is, okay, you had this really bad thing happen to you, go away, deal with it, and then come back and rejoin us in society, right? Sometimes that means, I'm going to go hide in the bathroom and cry till I can pull myself together and get back to work. Sometimes that means I'm going to go lock myself in the bathroom or my bedroom, scream into a pillow, and then come back and join my kids, right? And we think that's the only way to deal with emotions. Here's the thing, that usually happens over here. If you're burying an emotion down, not letting yourself feel it, it's going to stack up and stack up and stack up. So I'm burying this one, I'm burying this one, I'm burying that one, I'm burying that one, right? Till they build up. They become really intense, really hard to deal with all of that, right? But if you're regularly like, oh, here comes an emotion. Hey, I'm feeling you. Hey, here's an emotion. I'm feeling you. It keeps your center clear and clean. You don't have all this gunk building up. You don't need to go to such extremes to get rid of it. But in the beginning, most of us have a mountain we have to start digging through, right? Start pulling out the pieces, pulling out the layers of all this stuff we've trapped inside. And the more you build, the clearer you start to feel, the lighter, the better, and the easier it becomes to feel it. Until a lot of emotion you can just carry with you as you go throughout your day, right? This is what any successful person has learned to do in one way or another, right? They feel terrified. I'm about to go on stage. I don't know if I can do this, but what do? They walk right out there and they say, hey, this is who I am. I'm a speaker, I'm presenting, and I'm terrified inside, right? They're not going, okay, can we wait 10 minutes? I'm going to go have a meltdown in the back room. And when I get back, then we can resume this, right? But that's how we treat so much of our life, right? Every successful person has learned the ability to show up as who they want to be and hold their emotion. Now, a lot of us have learned to do that by, I'm just gonna go get rid of that for a while, not deal with it, not look at it, right? And that's burying it, right? But you can hold both of those, showing up in your life and having the emotion. It's not an either or, my friends. This is the essence, the power of mastering your emotions. This is the work we get to do. I'm so glad you came today. So glad we got to have this conversation. Let me know if you have any questions, thoughts you want to do more about this. We'll take those, use them tomorrow on our call as we're going to start walking you through the process of how to do this more. Okay. Your journal prompts for today. I will post them in the Facebook group. They will also be in the email that you receive. So don't forget, you don't have to, if you can't, this is what I mean to say. If you don't have a pen or way to write them down right now, that's okay. But your main journal prompts are, which experience do I tend to hang out in more? Okay. I want you to identify that. And then we're going to continue with what we did yesterday, which was practicing observing our emotions, right? Because that's a big key of getting here. Observing that emotion, becoming that observer. That's the first piece, remember? So again, pay attention. Where are these emotions coming up? What is it? What am I feeling it? Can you start to practice seeing them as those clouds in your life and start to either separate them from who you are or to put down the phone? Or maybe you notice, hey, I'm on my phone a lot. Am I avoiding an emotion? And stop and think, what emotion am I feeling right now? Maybe I'm feeling stressed about work. Maybe I'm feeling guilty because I put my kids in front of the TV and fed them chicken nuggets for the third night in a row, right? What's that emotion that's hiding beneath it? Become the observer. And I will see all of you tomorrow.